Hello, this is Lancer Kind, and welcome back to Release Planning with Agile Noir. Well, the last video clip I did is I discovered I have over a year's worth of work to get a final draft. I thought, oh my gosh, I thought for sure I'd get a final draft finished before I start university at the beginning of September. But I just thought about it, after thinking about it for a while. I think this is where optimistic thinking really kills you in most engineering situations. I think in my head I knew I was only going to get a first draft done before, and actually now that I think about it the more and more, I believe that I was only going to get my first draft done before September, and I was going to do some part-time sprinting to get the final draft done before the end of the next year. Okay, so this is a case where you really should do your release planning as soon as possible, which is about 3 sprints in, and that you can actually cognitively create a full product backlog as a product owner. If you can't, you don't understand what you're doing in that very well, and you should try to get that understanding. I hope you have that understanding in 3 sprints. Otherwise, there's some big impediments that you need to solve as a product owner to get that full product backlog. I have that full product backlog, and now here's what it looks like after breaking it down into 3 releases. So my release plan is in tiny type, so I'll get in close. So you can see I have essentially seven sprints remaining before I start at the university. And that's when I would like to get the bulk of the work done. So look at my product backlog. Right now you see some new sections here: release, book proposal, first draft, and final draft. And easy to read. And you can see now that I have create book proposal, and these are all the things I need to create the book proposal. And notice this is the value of having the highest business value ahead. It's not in order of execution only, because I can't have the book proposal done until these other activities are finished. Or maybe I can. This allows me the freedom of thought. I could actually choose to decide that, well, maybe chapter 3 is good enough for that book proposal. So this is where release planning is. We try to maintain the goal-oriented mindset. The goal is to create a book proposal. The goal isn't to finish all those things and then create the book proposal, because so many things I could quite frankly skip. Do I need to call and communicate with publishers? It depends. Maybe I could do it cheaper than 2. Maybe I just send it to 2 publishers. This is actually sending the book proposal, so that's not necessary for creation. But this is part of my release. I would like to do all these activities for my release. The goal is this. Find and send Agile Noir to trusted readers, merge and send out book proposals, feedback, revision on chapters 1 through 3, which is actually more like chapters 4 now. And this is the revision feedback on those trusted readers. So I'm getting detail-oriented because I'm trying to help you understand that keeping a goal-oriented mindset might mean cutting out some of these activities if I really need to hit this release date. The release date is projected to be this is how many sprints remaining based on the average. 6 sprints remaining. So that's using what I believe isn't a good estimate, and that I hope that it'll turn out to be twice this, but I'm not banking on it. I believe it'll be twice this because my focus and basically the number of resources I'm spending on this project will increase as of today. But I'm going to go ahead and manage with my historical information because that's more accurate than that's what I have. That's my most accurate number. And then after 2 new sprints, I will have a very accurate very accurate velocity of what and I will be able to use that velocity to recompute these numbers. Okay, next release is first draft. And now you see all these first drafts are up here where they used to be down there. And now you can see that I have 10 sprints to get this finished. So remember that the number is 7. So if my velocity doesn't increase as I project based on my ability to spend full time on this project, then I will get this release finished and out the door. I'll have something potentially shippable. I can send this book proposal out to publishers and get excitement and buzz over it and earn a nice advance. The other scenario is if I actually get my velocity higher because of my higher level of resources, and I'll know this in 2 sprints, which is, I'll know this in, at least in 1 sprint I'll see some change, and then 2 sprints I'll have an average. I will hopefully, let's say if it goes half, this will be roughly 3, this will be roughly 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is in shooting distance, 9 is in spitting distance of 7. And so at that point I get excited and say, okay, maybe I can get my first draft done by the new college year, only if I maintain my focus and only if I keep working on this project full time. And I also have an admission to make, because I was thinking about working on some other projects before school started. But doing this release planning has showed me today on June that if I don't stay focused, I will not reach my goals in September. So I can see the future now, and I can see that it's not going to be as nice as I would like it unless I keep focused on one project and not be seduced to work on a second project. Final draft. That's the next release, the 3rd release. And that's where everything's done. You see all these revisions, and then manuscript markup. I want to add some games to Agile Noir, such as things that teach you about Scrum. There's already 1 game in Chapter 4, which is a simulation of Scrum. But actually, they're really doing the work, so I wouldn't even call it a game or a simulation. They're doing a very quick sprint in Chapter 3. In Chapter 3, Angelina teaches Carter a little bit about Scrum in the casino by finding a product owner in the casino, finding somebody who needs something done, and enlisting them to act as a product owner for 3 hours. And she bets this person she finds, Chloe's her name. She owns a coffee shop in the casino. She bets Chloe that if her and Carter can't get something that she would be happy with, something potentially shippable in those 3 hours, then her and Carter will pay out $200. And Chloe only loses some time. But if her and Carter win and get something potentially reasonable for Chloe who wants to has a marketing problem, and she would like to drive people to her. She would like to get people to her coffee shop to earn more money. If Chloe wins, if Carter and Angelina win, because she gets this great marketing material. So either way, Chloe's looking pretty good, and Angelina is using this little quick project that she can do in 3 hours to teach Carter a lot about Scrum, and you'll read about that in Chapter 4 of Agile Noir. Now, let's look at what we have left. So we have some leftovers from my previous mindset. You see that the product backlog total is still here, and even though I ought to delete this because I can now use these. This is redundant. There's redundant information here. Now I have these separate releases and sprints, and so my mindset now should be about release 1, release 2, release 3, not about even worrying about this, because this is unachievable. And it wasn't clear to me until I did this exercise how unachievable it was. I mean, it's really unachievable. No matter how much my velocity increases, it might increase. I believe it'll increase 2x. Will increase 3x? No freaking way. And this would require more than a 3x increase. It would probably require a 4x increase. So I'm happy with this release plan. I have now a book proposal I can finish early. Maybe in 6 sprints, maybe in 3 sprints, which is 12 to 6 weeks away. And then I have my next release hopefully right before school starts. Or maybe I don't quite make it before school starts. But either way, I'll have a book proposal, and I have a plan I can live with. And I now know a lot more than I did before I started the release plan, which is what this whole point is about. And you saw me struggling where I really wanted to get it all done before I wanted to get it all done before school started, but it's not possible. And at the time I was feeling shock and grief and all these other levels of all these other levels of psychology of when you hear something that shocks you. Now I'm moved on to acceptance. And that's what I want all the other product owners out there in the world to do when they do this release plan, is to move on to acceptance and figure out then how to make something worthwhile happen on their target dates. If they're on a fixed target date, how do I release something worthwhile?